everybody. Michael here again with my 2002 911 Targa, and today's project is going to be deleting this little elbow and replacing this with a silicone hose for better airflow, as well as a higher flow air filter inside the box here. So the silicone hose that I bought is from Flat 6 Innovations. There's this guy right here. And it also comes with a little cap that's going to fit right where this elbow would have plugged in previously. And not to mention our handy dandy high flow air filter that's going to go inside that box. So why am I doing this? Really, I'm doing this for a better sound inside the car. This car is very quiet in its stock form, and I'll edit in a video here so that you can see that. And what I hope to get with these small mods is just a little bit more sound inside the cabin. And I've heard it on a friend's car, so I think it's going to make a nice little difference. I'm not expecting any power gains, no matter what they tell you. You know, a couple of horsepower to get a silicone hose in here. It's not likely, but in conjunction with the high performance exhaust that I've ordered that is probably 2 months out from being delivered, I think that combination of having the high flow cats and the nicer exhaust setup, it's going to pair nicely with this air inlet hose and the air filter. So this is a little bit of prep for that. And I also bought the exhaust from Flat 6 Innovations. All of these, this was one Black Friday purchase from Flat 6 Innovations. I got a nice price on everything. And even though the exhaust wasn't on sale, they were kind enough and awesome enough to give me a discount just because it was going to take 12 weeks to make and ship. Because the exhaust is from Klein, and it's not something that's stocked normally. It's made to order. So, and it's going to be made in Romania, so making a nice trip from Eastern Europe all the way here to Western California, or Western USA. We are Western California, but. And also one other thing I should mention, I'm not going with the full-on cold air intake system right now, because here in California, as much as I love it, we have all of our emissions controls. So sticking with just the hose and the high flow filter in there means that I could still kind of go under the radar. Somebody's not going to open up the trunk lid here and just be like, oh, okay, you're not going to pass smog. So that's a way for me to still enjoy a bit more performance, but stay under the radar by California standards. So I'm going to move you in a little bit closer, and I'm going to point out all the things we'll be doing on this project, and we'll get started. All right. So before I get started showing you all the stuff we're going to do here, one thing I want to mention, I got myself an amazing book. I hope that you can actually see that cover there. 101 Projects for Your Porsche 911. Got this as a Secret Santa gift at work. It was recommended to me by a friend at the office, and so I put it on my Secret Santa list, and someone in my office got it for me. Pretty fantastic. I really, really love the format of this book, just the way they walk you through things, and I'll show you where I got some of the, how they walk you through everything that's going to need to be done here when you take out that air box. I know you can watch all these videos on YouTube, and that's great. I really love having a book nearby. It's just something solid and tangible about not having to, with my dirty hands, like start up an iPad or a laptop to check how to do something, or bring it in here with me in the garage. And maybe because I grew up with books, I just like having a book handy so that I can read it just whenever I want and kind of plan ahead. So I'll put a link to this underneath in the description, so you definitely want to score this. It's for the 996 and the 997, and it actually has a lot of great stuff for the 986 as well, the Boxster of this generation too. So let me point you through all of this stuff. So basically we're going to be taking out this entire air box here. I'm going to try and stay out of the way so I can point everything out to you. We're going to be removing the mass airflow sensor here. There is also a harness clip right there. We'll be loosening up this hose clamp here. We'll also be kind of, popping this guy out, the oil filler tube. Be super careful with these old plastic pieces. They just tend to get really brittle, especially if you live in a hot environment like I do, the desert. And this has been a California car its whole life. I mean, technically this isn't desert, but it's pretty much desert. And so you just want to be careful because they'll crack easily. So just be really gentle when you're taking all this stuff apart. So mass airflow, wiring harness, hose clamp, the oil filler tube, and then there's just one glorious 13mm bolt holding this whole box in. And then we'll remove the box, and then we'll go about disassembling this stuff. Obviously these guys aren't going to go back, and we'll be putting the new air filter inside the box. So continuing on. So I had to change the angle of the camera a little bit here. I want you really to be able to see everything that's going on in here. And let's get started. So first things first, I'm going to be loosening up this hose clamp back here. And we don't have to get loose enough to remove, but just loose enough that this will slide off. So next thing is the mass airflow sensor. Okay. So on my year, 2002, there's actually a press underneath, so book's not always right, as I was just recommending the book. But just be smart, look around, don't force things. And with most of these Porsche connectors, it's usually obvious, but because this one is hidden underneath, it wasn't so obvious. Just slip that out of the way for now. The harness clip is super easy. It just opens up like a claw. And now this guy, which I'm nervous about this because, funny story, the very first Targa I ever went to see was a guy down in San Diego. It was a beautiful lapis blue. Gosh, it had that gray leather interior, which I just really can't stand. Beautiful car all the same. And he ended up cracking his when he was trying to do some work. So ever since that happened, I get nervous just with the thought of it, but it is supposed to just sort of clip out. So all right, that wasn't so bad. I'm gonna leave it here for now because I don't see any reason to remove it. Okay, let's get that. You're gonna need a deep 13 for this, just a heads up. One more harness clip here. Beautiful. That guy back over there. And out comes the airbox. Typically, I'm not a big fan about working on the floor like this, but I don't really have a great place big enough in the garage to do this and kind of show it to you the right way. So I'm going to be disassembling everything right now, taking this off, opening up the air filter box, getting in there and cleaning the air filter. We'll do the whole thing together, and hopefully I'll be staying out of the way here. Okay, there's the old hose removed. So we'll put that aside for now, and we'll get the box opened up. As you can see, actually, this one, it's a little dirty, but not filthy. And grab myself a rag and just kind of clean all this out of here. Okay, so here's our new air filter. One thing I want to be really clear with you guys is not to add more oil to this. Don't add any more spray when you get this. It comes sprayed from the factory, so it's already coated with that oil, like the K&N style oil. By the way, this is a BMC filter. I think I may have said BMR earlier, so I misspoke. You know, so definitely don't oil it. Obviously in 10,000 miles when it's time to clean and then re-oil, that's the time to do it, but do it very lightly at that time. There's issues with fouling the mass airflow sensor if you put too much of that stuff here. So we're just gonna insert this. There's really not much to it. It's pretty much a perfect fit. We just wanna make sure that it's snug. Put this back together, we want to ensure that there's no high spots or anything, you know, that it all sits together as it would from the factory. Start tightening up these screws. So we've got all our bolts, our screws tightened up. She's in good shape, ready to go back in the car. All right, so reverse, or installation, reverse, removal. Isn't that what they always say? There are these little pins underneath as you're dropping it in. You'll see they have a very specific spot where they go in. So as long as you get those, you'll see that it sits pretty snug. So, we had a bit of trouble putting this in. I got to admit, I never manhandled a hose as much as I manhandled this hose. Just what I ended up doing, and I'm not going to do it again because it was that tough to get in, I ended up having to kind of put it on the plenum, put it on this. I didn't even have the hose. I opened up the hose clamps. I just had them out of the way. And I had to sort of put it on as the air box was going back in, and so it would pop into place. And this was after trying all the different ways that they mentioned that I should mount it, which was putting it on the box first, then here. So now I'm just going to tighten this up, pop that guy in, and we should be good to go. And of course, I've also been running out of space on my phone, so that's been another pleasure. But we're gonna get all this tightened up, and then we're gonna get to the good stuff, which is driving it. Let's go out there and enjoy this beautiful installation.